Here we are, Tales from the Grease Pit, I guess. We're gonna do another take here. The furnace kicked on. Things got a little noisy a few minutes ago, so we have a couple oil filters from the day cut open. We have the Mobil 1 filter. We have a Wix filter, a Motorcraft filter, AC Delco filter, and I guess I want to start here by saying there's a couple little design differences in here, but none of them blow me away with quality. I don't know that one's any better than the other one. They all adequately did their job. The one thing I do have a problem with is the Mobil 1. The Mobil 1, you know, it's great branding, but what you're buying there is branding. You know, you're buying outlandish claims that this is good for 10 or 20,000 miles or whatever stupid nonsense. You had 20,000 miles of protection. Ain't no filter worth going to protect your engine for 20,000 miles. I mean, you can tell yourself it will, but it doesn't. This is the same premium guard filter that comes in so many other boxes, and we see this all the time now that there's only a couple oil filter manufacturers. A lot of times you can tell what they are just by looking at them, but Premium Guard owns the lion's share of things. You know, they started out as a white box manufacturer. They kind of, you know, Joe comes to them and says, I want 1 million filters at these specs. We build it and put a sticker on it, and they will. So at the end of the day, you do have a nice, thick, sturdy can. The coil spring fell out of it and went down there, and I don't really care, but probably down in there somewhere. But the filter element, Premium Guard, a lot of these, especially the ones in Vietnam, I'm noticing. The Chinese ones, yeah, they can get a little sloppy here and there, but for the most part, these Vietnamese filters are pretty good. The pleat uniformity is nice. The crimped seam is you know, a good thing, I guess, better than glue coming apart. The only difference is that, like I said, Premium Guard will make these to your specs. So maybe Mobil 1 has a different media blend. Maybe there's a little bit more synthetic fibers in there. Maybe it traps dirt a little bit better or whatever. But I will warn there that beyond 25 microns or so is what a lot of these are rated at. You know, most of them you'll see 99% multi-pass efficiency at 30 microns or whatever. The testing is not apples to apples, so don't even go into all that. What we need out of a filter is something that will filter the oil, have the prescribed bypass pressure, have a decent drain back valve in it that actually seals and holds if that's part of the engine design. Not every engine needs a drain back valve. Some filters won't have it, and people will be like, oh, that's a crappy filter because it don't even have a drain back valve. Well, it was never intended to. There's many specifications these filters are built to. But what we're seeing out of the Premium Guard stuff is pretty decent build quality for the most part. The bypass is right here at the back end. I would prefer to have the bypass at this end. So if the bias pressure from inside the cartridge to outside the cartridge, you know, the differential pressure is beyond the 10, 15 pounds, whatever the bypass spring is rated for. I would rather it open up down here and not wash all the dirt out of the media here and carry it back into the engine here. In the case of the Ford, it's one design element of most Ford filters I like, that the bypass is down here at the end. So if dirty oil comes in and the differential pressure is outside of spec and this opens up in here, it just goes ahead and bypasses it at this end of the filter. All you're seeing here is a little bit of dirt, or glue rather, not dirt. And this Ford filter is a little sloppy. You know, the pleats are irregular. The crimp seam looks a little janky. Things look a little crooked. I don't think it's coming through on the camera, but to me it's kind of got a little bit of a tilt that way, and it looks a little janky. But looks like it's glued together well. The media is sealed from the end caps, which is a good thing. Don't really want internal leaks in your oil filter. And you know, the material seems to be of decent quality. The can is a little flimsy, but you know, let's face it, most of them are. It has a leaf spring in the bottom of it. There's a bunch of to do about these leaf spring versus coil spring. I don't really care what it is. The only thing it does is keep the filter element, positioned in the case. And the leaf springs probably take up a little less room inside the case. As you can see, they're pretty low profile, and it just allows that when they do the roll crimp and put the end cap on it and crimp it together, that the filter element's not in there banging around. It takes up a little bit of space, gives a little bit of springiness to it. So yeah, the Mobil 1 filter, probably not worth the extra money, in my opinion. It's just a premium guard filter. So that's my take on it. The Ford filter is kind of a cool design, but they got to cheapen them up somehow. So maybe they're made in an old plant, an old filter plant, and the tooling's getting a little worn. Who knows? Here's a Wix. This is the ProTech. Again, can's a little flimsy. This particular one has a leaf spring. No problem there. The filter element is typical Wix. A little bit sloppy here and there. I guess I shouldn't say Wix, it's Mann-Hubbell, but they did put the Wix brand on it, ProTech Wix. It's their value line. We got a perforated inner core, not holes. Most of your premium guard stuff and most of the filters have a spiral fluted inner core that has holes punched in it. Most of the Wix have these little square louvers. If they flow the oil that they need to flow, who cares? Doesn't matter one way or the other. Main thing is that there's no internal leaks. It stays sealed up. The media is adequate to do its job, and the bypass opens if it needs to. But if you're changing your oil regularly, generally that bypass doesn't even have to open. You don't want it to open. It's just turning around and putting dirt back in your motor. So Motorcraft, okay, kind of cool design. Wix is kind of the standard that we see a lot of, and the premium guard is starting to own the market. Decent build quality for the most part. AC Delco ones here, I'm kind of taking issue with the AC Delco stuff. It seems like when they're doing these nylon core ones, they got the media here, and it's obviously adequate to do its job. It meets the specifications that GM wants for their vehicles. No problem with it. I see some of these cages crack. I think the glue that they're sealing these up with, gets hard and brittle, and it sometimes can crack up too. And it does not seal to the end caps. These end caps just kind of lay on there, and when I take the filters apart, they just pop right off, so they're not sealed. Kind of got an issue with that. Kind of sucks. The leaf spring end cap, it kind of finishes it off down here, and it has the bypass built into it. It's kind of a nice space saver design, but again, it's not sealed very well. It's just metal on metal. There's no O-ring in the bypass, so does that seal? Who knows? The anti-drain back is basically the other end cap. Fills that big hole up, and then a lot of people talk about these base plates, having so many holes like it's better or something. If the area of these holes flows enough oil to match the element's flow rate, that one is not superior or inferior to this one. The thing can only flow so many gallons per hour, so you can punch more holes in it, and it doesn't really do anything. But the anti-drain back valve on here was just, kind of a plasticky rubber. Guess it does its job. The shells on these are flimsy. If there's going to be a filter that seems to get stuck on an engine and have a bitch of a time getting it off, it's going to be these, and then the outer shells just kind of crumble. And these Wix ones ain't too far off either. So outside that, these other guys have nice, flexible, probably silicone impregnated anti-drain back valves, and they're all adequate to do their job. There's really only a couple filter manufacturers that make various ones and slap different stickers on them, so they're all pretty common in the market right now, and I'm not overly thrilled with too many of them, to be honest with you. They all have their pros and they all have their cons. I'd bet that if I was kind of pains me because I did have some problems with earlier Premium Guard filters and always kind of crap talked them, but anymore these seem to be the better built filter as far as not having glue slopped all over them. They're very uniform. Maybe they're made on newer machinery, I don't know. The cans seem to be a little thicker, and I guess my favorite filter you don't see a whole lot of. They're a company called Full, F-U-L-L. I like those. I like the Tokyo Rokis. Denso fits into that too. A lot of the Denso filters are just Tokyo Rokis, I think, or no, Toyo Roki, I think is what they are. So there's a couple global filter manufacturers, and then they put different stickers and different brands on them. It's hard to even know what you buy anymore. So I guess that's why I'm cutting them open, so you can kind of see what's in here and make up your own mind. But most of the everyday oil filters that we see here in the shop, there's nothing to write home about. So I guess that's it for tonight. I'm tired. I want to pack up and get the hell out of here. Good night.